With all the latest headlines now this Monday lunchtime, it's the ITV News.
Magic Monday, it's a gold rush for Team GB at the Olympics.
Utterly brilliant.
History for Adam Peaty, the first British swimmer to defend his Olympic title. Tom Pidcock triumphs in the mountain bike cross-country, and it's a gold finally for Tom Daley with diving partner Matty Lee.
First and foremost, I'm a father and a husband, and the fact that I've won this Olympic gold medal on top of that, alongside Matty, is honestly a dream come true.
Also ahead, out of isolation, the government's scheme to get essential staff back to work, but worries many will miss out. Plus, Jerry Barton in court. The Bristol Rovers manager pleads not guilty to assaulting his wife, and
the support from you guys has been what has been able to get me through some of my crazy.
Now he's got the gold. How becoming a dad helped Tom Daley achieve his Olympic dream.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good afternoon. Already 5 medals secured today, 3 of them gold, and there could be more on the way in the next few minutes. Tom Daley secured top spots on the podium in Tokyo, his 4th Games, alongside his diving partner Matty Lee. Well, Daley described their victory as unbelievable. Elsewhere, Adam Peaty becomes the first British swimmer to defend his Olympic title, and there was a gold for Tom Pidcock in the mountain biking. The good news doesn't end there. Brits are likely to pick up more medals before the day is over. Well, here's Sangeeta Lal on Team GB's Magic Monday at the Olympics.
We'll be watching.
They've carried the hopes of the nation on their shoulders, but now it's gold medals Tom Daley and Matty Lee carry around their necks. His first gold at his 4th Games for Tom Daley. It was a moment he'd worked for his whole life, but one he thought may never come. The pair had been unstoppable throughout the competition. 4 strong dives got them into the best position to win gold, but it all came down to this. As the winners were announced, for Tom Daley, appearing at the Games as a father and husband for the first time, performing like this was all he'd hoped for, not just for his country, but for his son too.
They were watching on TV and my son got to watch me become an Olympic champion, and there is nothing that feels more special than that, because at the end of the day, first and foremost, I'm a father and a husband, and the fact that I've won this Olympic gold medal on top of that, alongside Matty, is honestly a dream come true.
Something his husband and mother watching in Canada also felt, posting their subtle reaction on social media. Also making history, Adam Peaty became the first British swimmer to defend his Olympic title. Unbeaten in 7 years of major events, watching from his home city of Derby, other future Olympic hopefuls saw their hero win again.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It's just, I don't know. It took me a while though for me to fully realise it after Rio, and I think it's going to be the same this time too.
In the men's mountain bike cross-country, Tom Pidcock dominated at just 21 years old and won Team GB's 3rd gold medal today.
Receiving this medal, and I wonder how many more.
It was a difficult first few minutes for Alex Yee in the triathlon though, caught up in a false start as a boat got in the way.
Reversing out of the way just as the athletes dive in.
But Yee didn't let it stop him, adding to the medals tally for Team GB, winning silver in his first ever Olympics. And as the Games continue, all eyes are on Lauren Williams now, guaranteed to win silver, but going for gold on an impressive Day 3 of Tokyo 2020 for Team GB. Sangeeta Lal, ITV News.
Well, let's reflect now on Team GB's achievements so far. Joining me now are Adam Knight, friend of Tom Daley from the London Aquatic Centre, and former British Olympic swimmer Mark Foster. Thank you both for joining me. Thanks so much. Adam, let's begin with you. We just saw there the emotion on Tom Daley's face along with Matty Lee. You know him very well. You've watched him train. I think he trains at Aquatic Centre 6 days a week, doesn't he? What will winning that gold mean to him?
It will mean the world. We know how much Tom, Matty and the entire dive team sacrifice and how much they train. They have literally put everything into achieving what they have so far. They're 7 days a week, obviously with all the COVID restrictions and elite athletes not being able to train. When the guys were allowed to get back to training, they were at it full tilt, and we're extremely proud of them at the London Aquatic Centre. And we wish them all the best for the rest of the competitions that they've got in front of them.
And when we saw the celebrations happening there in Tokyo, was there some celebrating going on there at the Aquatic Centre? Were you watching?
Yes, there was some of the staff obviously were on poolside having to watch our local customers in swimming. But yeah, there were some big celebrations. We had it on one of the monitors in our offices. And yeah, we were over the moon for the guys. We can't be any more happier for them. It's an absolutely brilliant effort.
Adam, we'll come back to you. Mark, I want to talk to you, if we can. Adam Peaty's achievement, amazing, because he has won Team GB's first gold of the Games, but he's also created a little bit of history, hasn't he? He's the first British swimmer to retain his title. I mean, to do that under pressure is simply amazing, isn't it?
It is, and you sort of lose words to explain how good he is. Phenomenal, amazing, outstanding. I mean, I keep saying all the words that I can think of. But undefeated for 7 years in international competition, fastest 16 times in the world ever on breaststroke, rewriting the record books on breaststroke, rewritten the way that breaststroke swam. But yeah, he went in there as firm favourite. I put the medal around his neck 5 years ago, to be honest with you. But at the same time, you know, he's got the weight of the nation on him, the weight of his own expectations as well, and to deal with all that in such a positive way and just come out with the result he does every time is a credit to him and his family and his support network and his coach in particular, Mel Marshall.
And he said, as well, and you mentioned there, you know, he broke records 16 times the fastest, but what he said was it counts in that moment, doesn't it? It counts in that race, and that's where you show that you've got all the elements, and it is about dealing with that pressure and that expectation, as you say.
Times don't matter when it comes to big events. The times don't matter. The medals are the things that matters. As a little boy, and we're all kids. When you're a competitor, you're always comparing against what you've done before. That time for him, and he said it in his interview afterwards, he was really pleased because it's, you know, we've got morning finals in Tokyo, whereas normally with swimming you have heats in the morning, finals in the evening. So that was a big change. It was the same for everybody from every nation in every lane, but it takes something to get readjusted to. So I think he was really pleased with that. He's like a lion, you know, but I think we've seen a softer side to him, and we've also seen it with Tom, obviously, both being fathers now, that he's this man that is a beast behind the block, and when he jumps in that water, and then when he finishes, you see the softer side of him. You know, there's more to life than winning Olympic golds, but the first person ever to retain it in swimming, and that has only happened because it's so difficult. When America takes swimming seriously, trust me, it's difficult.
Yeah, there's so much more to life, but it's pretty special when it happens. And Adam, I want to give the final word to you as well. You mentioned there all the fans watching at the Aquatic Centre, but what would this mean for the legacy here? Because we talk about the legacy of 2012, don't we? But, you know, Tom Daley's going to be inspiring some more divers coming up, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Tom's got his own diving academy that we operate here at the London Aquatic Centre, and hopefully this goes on to inspire many more children to get onto the programme. There's a lot of kids on there. We run it throughout the UK, and hopefully this will inspire many more, as I said, to get onto the programme, to learn, even just to get out of the house and come down and have a bit of a laugh with the guys. It is a brilliant
I'm sure
skill.
It will. Adam Knight, thank you so much. Mark Foster as well. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, today's results for Team GB mean they have rocketed up the medals table. Let's take a look. Those 3 gold medals, along with 2 silver and a bronze, means that Great Britain are now 4th behind the US, hosts Japan and China. We speak now to our sports editor, Steve Scott, who is in Tokyo. Steve, great success already. Spirits must be very high in the Team GB camp right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, Lauren Williams is fighting right now and could get a 4th gold today, which would round off Well, just a sensational day for Team GB, but I would caution against looking at that medal table and making any sensible deductions from it about where Team GB might be at the end of the games. It is still very early days, but of course what today does, and you speak to any former Olympian and they'll tell you that once the medals start coming in, especially golds, it gives the team momentum. It creates this feel-good factor that can improve performances going forward. But yes, it's been a fantastic day. I think what's been so special is the difference in the 3 gold medalists, really. Adam Peaty, the man we expected was going to win and would have been disappointed if he didn't. Tom Daley, who's been trying for so many Olympic cycles, 4 in total, since he was a teenager, to get his gold. He did that alongside Matty Lee. And then, of course, another debutant at these games, Tom Pidcock. Not really well known outside the cycling world, but boy, is this boy going to be a star of the future. And just a postscript to everything today. Adam Peaty's gold was the 100th gold that Team GB have won since the National Lottery started to be used to fund Olympic athletes. So I guess on those grounds, we can all pat ourselves on the back today.
Oh, we can, Steve. You said it, momentum. Let's hope it keeps on going. Thank you. Moving on now, on government schemes to allow thousands of crucial workers out of self-isolation after coming into contact with people who have tested positive for COVID gets underway today. It means those who work providing critical services, including the distribution of food, will be allowed to return to work if they return a negative test themselves. But not everyone is happy. Some councils say they have been unable to take part, while unions say it potentially puts their members at risk. Well, Shihab Khan is in Westminster. Shihab, it's taken a while, but it finally starts today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been having reports for a few weeks now of the disruption that we've been seeing in a number of different sectors because so many people are being told to self-isolate, and it means things aren't running as usual. We've had reports of shops and supermarkets having to close. We've seen empty shelves as well. And you're right, there is now a new scheme. It means that there are certain sectors where you get exemptions under certain circumstances. I won't go into the full details of that. What we do know is that ministers are meeting today to determine whether or not some other industries and sectors need to be added onto the list because, as you mentioned, there are plenty of people that are concerned that their industry or sector isn't on that list. Now, I spoke to the Mayor of Copeland. He was telling me that they had to actually cancel some waste collections that they had organised simply because so many people have been off. Here's what he had to say about the potential changes.
You know, the worst it got was we were 40% down in manpower. You know, we're hoping the government will add crews like teams like our waste teams to the exemption list.
Now, ministers who are meeting today, I spoke to a minister today and she was saying, look, we have this August 16th deadline, at which point anyone who's been double jabbed doesn't need to isolate, and we're working to minimise disruption until then. Her argument was, we are looking at this. Here's what she had to say.
We continue to look very closely at how we do that in order to minimise the disruption to the economy and then build towards that August the 16th date where it will cover all adults that have been double vaccinated.
And Shihab, briefly, there are signs that cases are now falling in much of the UK. That's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. For the last few days or so, it's clear that cases are falling. The question is why. There are suggestions it might be because of the good weather, people meeting outside, suggestions it might be because schools are now closed. But remember, we did have that big easing of restrictions just last week, so there are questions being raised about whether or not a spike is on the way. Now, there'll be scientists, experts, journalists, everyone looking at the data, waiting to see whether or not we're going to see a rise in cases soon.
All right. Shihab, thank you. Bristol Rovers manager Joey Barton has pleaded not guilty to assaulting his wife. The former Premier League footballer appeared at Wimbledon Magistrates Court in southwest London this morning via video link. Well, Sejal Carrier is here. Sejal, you're in court. What do we hear?
Well, Mr. Barton is accused of assaulting his wife, Georgia. The allegations are that he grabbed her by the throat and kicked her in the head at a house in Kew in southwest London on the 2nd of June this year. He denies the allegations, saying no assault took place. He appeared via video link, as you say, wearing a black T-shirt and shorts, and only spoke to confirm his name, address and date of birth. Joey Barton is, of course, a former midfielder playing for teams including Manchester City, Newcastle and Queen's Park Rangers during his playing career. He also appeared for England in 2007 before moving into management, starting off with Fleetwood Town in 2018, joining Bristol Rovers as a manager earlier this year. Today, he was given unconditional bail until his trial on the 16th of December at Wimbledon Magistrates Court. Bristol Rovers have said they won't be commenting while legal proceedings are ongoing.
All right, Sergio, thank you. This weekend was one of the worst in memory for the fire service, a senior officer has said, after 6 people died in Scotland's waters. 3 people, including a 9-year-old boy, died after getting into difficulty near Pulpit Rock on Loch Lomond on Saturday evening. A 7-year-old boy was taken to hospital. Hannah Miller is there. Hannah, a devastating story and sadly not an isolated one in recent days.
Yeah, it's easy to see why going for a swim in open water like this might seem appealing, but the message today is very much to take extra care if you do choose to do it. After 6 people died in Scotland alone in the water this weekend. Among them were a family who'd come here to Scotland's largest loch for a day out. 9-year-old Rana Harris Ali, described today as the loveliest little boy, and his mum Adina Olahova, who got into difficulty in the water here along with a family friend of theirs, Mohammed Asim Raza, who was also pronounced dead at the scene. Emergency services tried to rescue them. Another 7-year-old boy who was in the water with them is now fighting for his life in hospital. But scenes like this have become all too common across the UK in recent weeks. In the past 10 days, more than 30 people have drowned in UK water. The National Water Safety Forum say that's around triple the normal rate of water deaths. It's difficult, of course, to put that down to any one factor, but increasing numbers of people are choosing to go on their holidays to beautiful British destinations like this. The message is, if you do choose to go swimming this summer, please take extra care.
All right, Hannah, thank you. As Hannah was saying, we have seen a number of tragic incidents in recent days, many involving those holidaying at home. Today, emergency services are warning of unprecedented pressure this summer as people flock to rural beauty spots. They are advising people to download an app called What 3 Words to help stay safe. We can speak to Michelle Collins now, a PCSO for Lincolnshire Police. Michelle, thanks so much for talking to us. Just briefly explain to us, what is the app? How will it work exactly?
So the way the app works is you download it from your Play Store onto your phone. The whole world has been split into 3-metre squares, and each square has a 3-word unique reference. So as you can see, it says courage, nicer, fountain. Each square is unique, each has those 3 words, and that is what gives you your exact location. Now, you don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need data, you don't even need phone signal for the app to work and give you those 3 words. All you need is a GPS signal.
Michelle, you know, we were just hearing from Hannah, we've so much sad news recently with people, especially swimming in open water, and it's very tempting, isn't it, when we've seen temperatures that we saw last week, that people want to go for a swim and cool off. You know, what should they be aware of? What should they be looking out for if they think about swimming?
Especially for us on the coast. So obviously we've got quite a unique tidal system. It doesn't come straight in and out, ours comes in at an angle. So it can very, very quickly isolate you. What I would suggest is swim on a beach where you have the lifeguards. All of our coastal resorts here on the coast, we have the lifeguards. They are on duty. They put the flags there for your safety. Swim between those flags. Limit the use of inflatables. I know they're fun, they look amazing. Limit the use of them, because very, very quickly they will have you out and you'll be going out to sea in the wrong direction.
All right, Michelle, very good advice there. And we just urge people, of course, as always, to take care. Thank you very much for talking to us this lunchtime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
On to some other news now. And all planned surgery and outpatient appointments have been cancelled at Whipps Cross Hospital in East London following the heavy rain. Both Whipps Cross and Newham hospitals urged patients to find alternative treatment centres after they were affected by the heavy downpours. More than 41 millimetres of rain fell in the wettest part yesterday in St James's Park in London. And finally, we go back to the Olympics and to proof perhaps that you should never really give up on your dreams. It took Tom Daley 3 previous attempts before getting the gold in Tokyo today, a journey that started for him as a teenage boy and now a dad himself. It was his family, he said, he had to thank the most. Well, Sally Biddulph on Tom Daley's long road to Olympic glory.
As a nation, we've seen Tom Daley grow up, from schoolboy diver to Olympic champion, and it's been quite a journey. Making his first splash aged 8 in Plymouth, 6 years later he was British and European champion and was at his first Olympics in Beijing.
A good performance is what I'm aiming for, and if I get a medal then that's a bonus, but I'm not expecting it.
Never far from his side, his dad Rob, who died in 2011, as always in his thoughts.
Well, my dad was my biggest cheerleader. He took me to every single training session. He came to every single competition that he could. When he passed away in 2011, it was extremely difficult for me because, well, he never saw me win an Olympic medal, get married, have a child.
Even before today's victory, though, Tom left a little message for his family at home, thanking his husband Lance, his son Robbie and his mum.
The fact that you guys make me feel loved regardless of how I'm going to do makes things a lot easier. It takes a lot of pressure off of me, so thank you for that, and I love you.
Back in the UK at Tom's training pool, everyone had bated breath.
It was like everyone's hearts dropped, like we're all standing like nerves and all like on edge and everything. And as soon as we found out they won, it was just like so exciting. It was like the best thing that happened.
Oh, it was just so good to watch when you see someone that's been training so hard to finally get that work paid off.
Tom has had huge success, but an Olympic gold remained elusive, missing out in London in 2012 with a bronze in the single 10 metres, and then again 4 years later with the bronze in the synchro dive in Rio. But today was mission accomplished. Tears of joy on the podium and a very proud nation. Sally Biddulph, ITV News.
And before we go, there is another medal for Team GB. Lauren Williams has won a silver medal in the 67 kilograms taekwondo. She lost to Croatia's Mateja Jelic in the final. But that is it this lunchtime. Mary will be here with the evening news at 6:30. The news where you are follows the national weather. From everyone here for now, bye-bye.